tables bending, broken rules. Hound dog howling, bullfrog croaking. Everything is broken.
Now, I was looking through the some of the filings from this whole process, and I noticed that there was, I guess it was a warning from the judge when the issue was raised about whether or not the mother might intend to take the kids and go to Japan. And one of the judges in the case, Judge Martin, essentially told the mother, it sounded like a warning, it was in the filings, that if she were to do something like that, she'd be jeopardizing her maintenance and her alimony, her maintenance and her child support, and also her custody situation with the kids. Is that something that at this point has been, does she still have legal custody in America?
No. The status at this point with regard to the American orders is that Christopher has sole custody of the two kids.
Okay.
By court order. Obviously, she right now has the physical custody of them in Japan,
sure,
but the United States order says that he has sole custody.
Okay.
Because he has sole custody, the courts have also terminated his child support and alimony obligations.
I see.
Because he has custody. Mm-hmm. The court has also entered a restraining order preventing her from transferring anything dealing with the children's college education funds, which are substantial. Mm-hmm. And in addition, there were some monies in escrow related to income taxes in Japan and the United States, and that money has been restrained as well, does not go to her at this point.
Okay.
But she received several $100,000 through the initial property settlement, and our understanding is that she's been able to transfer that to Japan. Mm-hmm. So although the judge said, she'll be jeopardizing her child support and alimony, she was able to successfully transfer her property settlement, which is much larger than the child support alimony payments would be. So although he tried to give her, an incentive to stay, a financial incentive to stay,
right,
it was really worthless because she had enough money to leave and not worry about alimony and child support.
Right. Is there anything that, if this is fairly rare, but is there any anything that you would recommend to a father if he suspects this is going to happen and he really wants to drive the point home to this judge that there is a precedent for this, for running to non-Hague signatory countries? Is there something that could have been done to really drive that point home and to say to the judge, this is a real danger?
Well, I think it was argued to the judge that this is a real danger. They had an affidavit from Jeffrey Morley out of New York, who is a lawyer who kind of specializes in this area, explaining to the judge that, listen, if she leaves and decides not to come back, there's nothing he could do.
Right.
But that just did not impact the judge. I don't know how many children are in Japan based on people just kidnapping them in violation of a court order. Mm-hmm. I don't know if of these over 100 children, if that's the case in most of them or not. But if I were a father in that situation and I was asking for a restraining order, I would ask Christopher Savoie and whoever else has been in this position to come and testify at the hearing as to exactly what happened. And I would be willing to bet that Christopher would do that in a second.
Sure.
Because one of his main goals is to prevent this from happening to other fathers. Mm-hmm. And I would imagine that Christopher will continue to work on this for years to come to try to get the laws changed on this.
Sure.
And so I would subpoena people like Christopher. You wouldn't even need a subpoena, I would bet. He would probably just come on his own and explain that, look, this really does happen, and explain the predicament that he's in. Mm-hmm. I just think the judge in this particular case, I don't think he ever thought that she would do this, but he probably should have placed more emphasis on the downside if she decided to do it. But he made his decision, and that was his decision.
Right, yeah. And looking back, it's we were able to see this a lot more clearly and sort of connect the dots. So now, as it stands today, Christopher Savoie has been released from jail in Japan. What's next?
Well, he'll fly back to the United States I anticipate that he will want to meet with me fairly soon. Then at that point, we basically have to get together a strategy as to what we can do, either in the United States or Japan with legal orders. I don't want to really, we have had this discussion before about what to do. I really don't want to discuss it because it's attorney-client privilege and it's just strategy, but I will just say that prior to him going to Japan himself, there were still additional things that we were going to do, and I imagine he'll still want to do those now that he's back here, in order to attempt to put some pressure on the mother or the Japanese government to cooperate in getting the children back here.
Do you know of any cases where this has been resolved fairly for both parents after it's already gone to Japan?
We don't know of one case where a parent has been required by any court to return the children to the United States. I think that the judges in the United States need to become better educated as to the situation involving, children that have parents that are citizens of other countries, or when you have a situation where there's a threat to go to another country that's not a signature on the Hague Convention, because this is what happens. I don't know. I know there are other countries that take the position that Japan does, and I think judges here just need to understand that the downside is too heavy if the person decides to do that. Christopher was willing to bring the in-laws to the United States to allow the in-laws to come over here and visit. So he was not trying to keep his grandchildren from their grandparents.
Right.
So that he would have definitely done that. He also agreed to let the mother take one child at a time to Japan, and that would give her incentive to return because her other child would be here, and then that way that would facilitate visitation with the grandparents, and the children would be able to go to Japan. But it would also place a real incentive, a non-monetary real incentive for the mother to come back here.
Right.
But that was obviously not done.
Right.
And so that's. I just think that judges need to become more and more aware of what's happening in this arena, and what when it does happen, that there really is no relief. And it's just a situation where if a foreign national that from Japan or a another country that's similarly situated to Japan, if they live in the United States and get divorced in the United States and have children in the United States, they may need to understand that it's going to be really difficult for them to take the children back to their home country, because of what other people have done before them. But I just think the judges have got to become more aware that this is happening, and all the press coverage will probably be beneficial to other fathers who may potentially be in this situation.
We're going to be posting other information that's related as far as other non-signatory Hague countries and other information like that, so that fathers can be aware of some of the dangers. And I want to thank you, Mr. Bruno, for talking to us today.
Sure. Well, thank you, and I'm certain that Chris would want to thank you too, because one of his goals is to get his story out there so that it does not happen to other, fathers and mothers. He's not, it's on both sides to him. The children need to be with both parents, and he wants to expose his situation so that hopefully that will, prevent this from happening to other people.
For DadsDivorce.com, I'm Rick Ortiz. And I want to thank you for tuning in. Continue to look at the website, and we will post information as it becomes available. Thank you.